to your lesson on how to go from Cupid to inside leg hang. I have seen this transition called a catapult flip before, but if it is a flip, it's just a little mini one and it's super fun and very controlled. So we're going to go through how to do it today, of course, and then we're going to talk about the things that we need to do to make it nice and strong, and then we're going to talk about how to finesse it and make it look beautiful. So let's get straight into it. So we're going to obviously start in our Cupid position. So if you are doing Cupid hands off, then you'll probably find this transition a little bit easier. If you're not doing hands off yet with your Cupid, you can still do this transition. It's just going to be a little bit trickier to move the hands around. So from here, we're just going to bring our bottom hand down, and you want to give yourself some space. So this hand for now is just for support. Okay, so you do need some space underneath your knee. You don't want it here, and you want your thumb up in true grip. So if you're doing a Cupid without hands off yet and you've got this one on, you'll just have to go from here and bring your hand down. So now this space we're actually going to fill with this hand, and we want to try to get it into a twisty grip. Now this is probably the scariest part of the transition, because to get your hand into twisty grip, you have to drop your head down. So there's really no other way to kind of get into that position. So you want to be strong in your Cupid grip. You want to be able to trust your knee and your foot on the pole as well. So from that Cupid position, I find that a lot of the time, not every time, but a lot of the time, I have to slide this foot down the pole in order to create even more space to get my hand into that twisty grip. So while you're doing that, if you need to slide your foot down, definitely go ahead and do that. But you need to, basically you're holding the pole at that stage with your knee grip and also with this grip in true grip with your thumb up. So I can't kind of emphasize that enough. You have to squeeze this knee really hard. So pulling your toes in toward your butt and really jamming the pole into your knee pit so that you can make some room for yourself as you set up for the little flip. So this foot is sliding down the pole if you need it, and lots of space here so that you can actually start to drop your head down and then turn this hand into twisty grip with thumb up. And this hand is quite close to that knee at this stage. Okay, so true grip, twisty grip, and now one more grip change. Where your foot is on the pole, this hand that's in true grip is going to come down into split grip with your index finger down the pole. Make sure that your index finger is down the pole because it's a stronger push and it's also safer for your wrist as well. So let's just go through that one more time. So we're in our Cupid, here or here. Hand goes to true grip, space, squeeze your knee. Hand goes to twisty, thumb up, drop your head. This hand is going to go where that foot is, basically, with your index finger down the pole. So basically, your foot is going to be kind of in the way of putting your hand down. So as you put that hand down into your split grip with your index finger, you're going to have to start to push your foot off the pole. So from there, which we'll go through all of this, but you really do need to know where to go from there, because when your foot leaves the pole, you kind of have nowhere else to go but to see it through, okay? So from here with your twisty grip, this hand is pulling. Really important to pull down on that hand for grip, your twisty grip, and this hand is pushing to create the space. So this gap here, right here, is going to be where our shoulder goes. Basically, all you need to think about is getting this shoulder, your inside shoulder, through the gap. Because as soon as you're through the gap, this leg will turn into your inside leg hang grip. So let's have a kind of a little go at that. And if you get stuck and you have no one to spot you, definitely, of course, make sure you've got some crash mats or some cushions there. If you get stuck, just pull into the pole, and just slide down. Tuck your chin and just slide down to the floor. Because sometimes on these little flips, we tend to get a little bit stuck. So if you haven't done it before, we're going to go really slowly. Don't put much spin on it at all, and just tuck into the pole and slide down. So let's try. You can either invert up into your Cupid, or you can climb, because you definitely need some space to travel down the pole a little bit. I'm just going to take a climb, so I have space, and like I said, don't put much spin on it, okay? Because as you pull in, you're going to speed up. So here. So you're in your Cupid here. Now slide down, true grip, thumb up, twisty grip, drop your head. Index finger goes where your foot is. Now we're going to push, and all we have to do is get this inside shoulder through the gap. And then this leg just turns into your inside leg hang. All right, how'd you go? The more you push out of that bottom hand, the more space you've got to sneak your shoulder through. We do have pole shoulders, so let's acknowledge our amazing pole shoulders. So sometimes it's almost like you're walking past someone in a crowd. You know how you kind of go like that? You do actually have to do that with your beautiful pole shoulders, because usually the space we have is not enough for us to get through. So think about pushing out of the bottom arm and squeezing by like that, like you're brushing past someone in a crowd. Okay, so that inside shoulder is what's sneaking through then. You will find that the leg, your Cupid leg, that turns into your inside leg hook, will be quite extended up the pole, more so than usual on an inside leg hang, but there's nothing you can do about that. That's just how it is, so don't worry too much about that. Okay, so really the most important parts are the pull down of the twisty grip, the push out of the bottom arm, and then your leg is just going to go around, and we're going to sneak through. So let's try it all again. Same emphasis, not a lot of spin, dropping the head and using those grip points. Okay, so we'll take our climb. Trying to climb without bashing the microphone. Okay, Cupid, true grip, slide the bottom foot. Twisty, pull down, index finger where the foot is, push the leg, sneak through like you're going past someone in the crowd, pop it in, twist away from the pole and into your inside leg hang. So let's try that again. And what we're going to concentrate on now, because we know that we have to slide the bottom foot, don't overthink that little slide. Just slide it enough so that you've got room for your hands, okay? Sometimes if we've set our Cupid up a little bit kind of higher than we normally would, you might not have to slide that foot down too much. So that foot is just so you can create space for your grip, basically. So don't overthink that part too much. The most important things are squeezing the knee while you set up your grips, and then using your grips to push and pull. So now let's just think about that leg, the leg that comes off the pole. Rather than sweeping it up and over, think about sweeping it around and into your inside leg hang. So you'll get there a lot faster, and it'll be a lot easier if your leg goes out and into your leg hang than up and over. And when I say leg hang, I mean the leg that's at the back of your leg hang. So it really just has to create the shape anyway. So leg out and around. Let's give that a try with that emphasis. All right, so let's give it just a little bit of spin for now. And we'll go hook, squeeze that Cupid leg, here. Slide if you need to, true grip, twisty grip, pull, hand here. Now sweep it out to the side and around behind you, rather than up and over. Okay, hopefully that felt a little bit easier to sweep the leg into place rather than trying to pull it up and over. Okay, so now let's just talk about how to finesse this move, make it look really pretty. So of course this move works on static as well, very much so. It'll look a bit more droppy I don't know if that's a word, but you know, a little bit more dramatic on the static pole, whereas on the spinning pole, we want to make it look really fluid. You can still make it look dramatic, but we don't really want to drop into it. We want to have control the whole time. So as soon as this foot comes off the pole, make sure that you keep those toes pointed. It's really going to help with the whole finesse of this move. So toes off, sweep it out to the side and back behind you rather than trying to lift it up and over like we just talked about. So toes pointed the entire time and the foot that's in Cupid. So especially when we get a little nervous as well doing this one, we tend to kind of get a little crunchy in the toes. We all do it. So work on that. If that's kind of like the only thing that you're doing at the moment, then that's fine, because there's a lot to this transition. But eventually, to finesse this move, we do want to try to keep the ankle nice and kind of straight here with the toes pointed in your Cupid leg. That will become your inside leg hang. Again, it's just finesse and keeping the lines. So work on that one, but after you feel really confident in this move. And what we really want to do here, because we've got a few grip changes, whenever we do lots of grip changes in a short amount of time, we have the potential to be clunky. But if you just go slowly, just kind of place, 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 rather than this sort of thing, it will actually keep the fluidity. So grip, 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 sweep, and land your inside leg hang. So just think about being soft with the grip changes, even though we're using kind of our maximum strength, especially when we get into that twisty grip as well. But yeah, soft, soft, soft. We'll keep the finesse of the move, even though we're doing several grip changes. And a little bit more spin as well does tend to make it look a lot more fluid for this particular move. Again though, I can't stress enough, get comfortable with the move first. Add these things on later once you feel really confident, because the spinning can, if you're not used to it as well, can throw you a little bit in terms of kind of make you a little bit disorientated. And when you're spinning, you can't quite think about which direction you need to sweep your leg and all sorts of things. So this definitely comes later, adding a little bit more spin on. And finally, in our inside leg hang, because we're moving into an inside leg hang, I always like to kind of really extend out through the chest and lift the arms. With my outside hand, I like to kind of open the chest this way, and the arm kind of goes out and the back arm goes up. Of course, you don't have to do that, but that is just one way to make the inside leg hang look a little bit different, but also really beautiful lines. And even though you're in your inside leg hang and your legs have stopped moving, if you keep moving your arms and keep extending your chest, then it will give the illusion that the movement is still going. So give that a try, because it really does look beautiful. So we're going to try and put all of it together now. So once you're feeling, of course, nice and comfortable with this, then we can add those finesse parts on. I'm going to put them on now for the purposes of the video, but if you're still working on getting your strength up and in more particularly getting your confidence up, then don't worry about the finesse, bring that in later. All right, so let's give it a try. So I'm going to pop a bit more spin on. Hook that leg and into Cupid. And we go true grip, slide the foot, soft grip changes, sweep the leg out and around, sneaking past someone in the crowd, and then open for your inside leg hang. And that's it.